Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about The Serpent Queen, Season 2. So this is just my thoughts on The Serpent Queen Season 2, which just came out this year, and the finale, at least for in America, was just last night. Well, technically it came out on Thursday night for me, but the finale was supposed to be Friday, but whatever. I honestly gotta say that this season sucked. And it pains me to say that because I actually really love the first season. This has been a show I've been like dying to see for like ever since it came out. But I've been waiting for the longest time to find a good deal on Stars to watch it. And earlier this year when I reviewed it, I found a really good deal and I watched the first season. And I really enjoyed it. There was only one thing that bugged me, and that was the pacing of the show. Because they jumped through different time periods in just 8 episodes. See, the show is about Queen Catherine Medici of France, or France, as they want to say. And, it's based on a book known as The Renaissance of Queen Catherine Medici. And, so it spans that of 30 years. And it jumps at least, probably 4 different time periods in the first season in just 8 episodes. And that pisses me off because it should have been spread out a whole lot longer. And because of that, a lot of the cast members, disappeared from like the first season because their characters died. And we no longer got to see young Catherine no more, who was a standout in the show. Older Catherine is too. This is why I'm watching the show. I love myself some Samantha Morton. And then in between season 1 and 2, they jump another time period. After that, they do no more jumping. But needless to say, they cover a lot of history in just a short amount of time, and it's really bugging. That's my only complaint of season 1. Come season 2, everything just feels so much different. It's set many years into the future to where the young Prince Charles is now king. He's an adult and so are his siblings. Everybody's older and they had to recast at least 3 different characters to make them older. And once I saw that, who got recast in season 2, I'm just kind of like, no, not another time jump. Now, this show was created by Justin Hathey, and he is the creator, showrunner, and writer. He writes every episode, but he also have co-writers, and I noticed something. A couple of the co-writers from season 1 did not return for season 2. Only a few did, and they got some new ones. The people who left, seriously, something good left with them because this season just feels different. But anyway, so I've never bothered to even look up and see who this guy is because I liked the first season so much. But then once I hated the second season, I'm like, hey, who is this dude? So I looked him up and I looked up some of his movies and shows that he created. He hasn't created much, but pretty much everything this man has ever created gets mixed reviews. Some things pretty much bomb and stuff like that. The only movie of his I've seen was Disney's The Lone Ranger. That movie was terrible. He did a movie with The Rock, and if The Rock's in it, it's gonna be a bad movie. But needless to say, a lot of his stuff just gets mixed reviews, average stuff like that. So it kind of, and then when you hear some of the complaints about those movies, one of the things about it is the pacing. I'm like, yes, exactly. This is what the problem I'm having with this show. It's like the pacing and stuff, but that's not just the only thing. So a problem I had with this season is a lot of the characters that I liked in the first season are no longer in this show. And if they are in this show, then they are barely in the show. And that created a huge problem for me because, the first season had some humor to it. It has this whimsy to it, you know what I'm saying? Part of that whimsy was like, Liv Hill, like who played young Catherine. Her comedic timing was just perfect with that deadpan like humor. And I just really enjoyed young Catherine because she was different from that of the older Catherine, who was more sinister and like cold-hearted and maniacal in a very like hidden kind of way. I really enjoyed the night versus day with those two. And you really want to see what really caused her to be exactly how she is, because you did get to see some bad stuff happen to her when she was younger. But she left halfway into the first season, which really pissed me off. And so I assume maybe she'll come back for the second for flashbacks or something like that. But no. Absolutely not. So I'm really missing this character and stuff. The actress who played Madeline, she's gone too, and I really enjoyed her character. And it's never explained what the heck happened to her. She just completely disappeared and hasn't been seen in the entirety of season 2. Now, at the end of season 1, she wanted to leave Catherine's court and go back home because she didn't like the stuff Catherine was doing, and she didn't like being an accomplice to murder. But Catherine denied that wish. So I'm assuming in between she was granted that wish, but it would have been nice to know where exactly she is. Now I can't pronounce her name, and I don't think they ever say it in like the show. But Ababis, the Romani lady from season 1, who had a pretty decent arc in season 1. It was nothing too huge, but at least she was there and at least she did stuff. She is in season 2, but my God, when I tell you she is like barely in the show, I am not joking. She is literally a background mute character. She's always popping up in the show in the second season, but she is always in the background with a huge crowd of people, and she doesn't say nothing. She only has like 2 lines and 2 scenes where she actually gets to do something in all of 8 episodes. When she tries to assassinate Edith with poison, but fails and then get baptized by Edith. And then the next scene, she just says something while she's with a group of people. And then she is murdered off screen during the massacre and everything. It's like, what was the point in even bringing her back if they weren't going to utilize her? And what happened exactly to that little boy she took in? He's recast now and grown up in somebody's apprentice, but I don't remember seeing the new actor because I don't know what the dude looks like. I barely forgot what the young dude looked like and everything. But I was shocked when she didn't do absolutely nothing this season. Diane Portier shows up for like 1 episode, but doesn't do anything. She just walks around, says hey to her nieces and nephews, and basically that's about it. Now, I didn't really expect too much from her because like around this time, this is when she leaves court, after her lover dies and everything. So I wasn't really expecting her to come back. So what was the point in even bringing her back? Angelica is back this season, but she doesn't do much. Something happened. I think she tried to kill somebody, but then Catherine spared her life. Or maybe Catherine wanted to kill her from last season. I can't remember. But she spares her life. And basically just has her assassinating people left and right this season with poison. She has a group of harlots and everything. And they help with the massacre, either by poisoning people or stabbing people. And that's basically all she does. She just plants poison places here and there. And people get affected by it by drinking it or absorbing it into their skin, and that's literally all she does all season. It is a waste of a character. The Princes of Bloods, they show back up, and they're all throughout the season, but they're just there for comedic relief. And once again, they try to overturn Catherine with help of Elizabeth, only to get screwed out of that deal, but they're mostly just there for comedic relief. we see the big one get stabbed during a massacre, and he gets thrown in the body of the dead, the pit of dead bodies. But then at the very end of the season, he wakes up and runs off, and it seems, oh, okay, he's alive. So I'm like, all right, well, that was like that wasn't even really a twist. Because, I really didn't care no more because they were more interesting in the first season. That's where his brother, he hid in the cupboard during the massacre and everything. The Geese brothers, they're still here, but it's like they don't really do too much. Like, they really don't. Like, the Cardinal, I think his name is Charles or something like that. He basically just converts to that I think it's what are they, Puritans? I think it is Puritans. I can't remember. No, Protestants. That's it, Protestant. He converts to that. And it's like, dude, aren't you supposed to be like Catholic or something like that? But yeah, he converts and everything. And he really doesn't do much other than trying to kill somebody, or he set something on fire, something like that. But it backfired, and Catherine took like the blame and stuff. As for his brother, Claude, it's revealed he's gay, and like pretty much Princess Margaret is in love with him, but he's not in love with her back. He also converts to Protestant, and like he was supposed to help her out by saying him and her messed around, which they did, so she couldn't marry her own cousin, Henry, and he refuses to help her out. But then later on, when the massacre happens, him and his brother are like in prison for treason, and that's literally all they do in the entirety of the season. And I'm just like, what a waste of a character, because they barely do anything. Rahima, so she got recast this season because she has to be older, right? And so, like, I was curious to know what happened to her because she's an original character, never from historical days and stuff. The new actress does a nice job, but there's something missing. She doesn't act like the original actress at all. The original actress, every once in a while, like you see like some type of like smirk on her, like she's up to something, or it's somebody you cannot trust, right? And she played a big role in season one. Come this season, her and Catherine are still tight. She's like Catherine's personal assistant or something like that. But the thing is, you rarely see those two interact. In fact, like you'll see them two together and you'll see them two talk, but they act like they never met each other. They act like they have no chemistry. It's not like it was in season one, and they barely do talk. And so she's given tons of tasks by like Catherine, but she's distracted by this other dude, the Duke of Florence and everything. And she ends up having an affair with him. Well, actually, it's not really an affair because he's not with nobody. But Catherine likes him and he likes Catherine. The only problem is they're brother and sister. So anyway, he starts sleeping with her and tells her all his plans about how he had to struggle, how he has to fight for money, how he's heading to like America. Catherine overhears them. And those two have like a falling out. Catherine locked her into her room during the massacre because for whatever reason she wanted to keep her alive. But then she reveals to Catherine she's pregnant, which means if she's pregnant with a Medici's baby, that's royal blood and everything. But other than that, it's like she's an uninteresting character this season because she just feels so completely different than what she was in the first season. Now, Samantha does a great job of playing Queen Catherine, but the problem is, even though this show is supposed to be about her, this season kinda is not. This season doesn't even focus on her and everything. And that's the most shocking thing of all, because the first season was heavily focused on her. She's there, she's doing what she always does, like, manipulating people, manipulating her family, getting what she wants, wanting to stay in power, wanting to keep her kids alive, but also will stab her kids in the back just to hold on to whatever power she can. But that's really about it. Like, other than that, you don't really learn nothing about Queen Catherine. She's still the exact same character she was at the end of season one. Nothing has changed. Not a thing. This show is supposed to be about her. Yet this season is not. Who exactly is this season about, you're probably wondering? The new characters. And all of the new characters are boring. And I mean, they are boring. They are so uninteresting, I could care less about them. In fact, I barely wanted to learn any of their names, and I had to look it up online just for this video. This is how boring the new cast is. It's not that they do a bad job acting, because they don't. It's just there's nothing interesting written about them. You have Edith, who is recast. Who is Edith? Well, she was that girl who was found in the last season and was taken under the wing of that one guy. Now, for whatever reason, because she's not allowed to practice her Protestant faith, because remember during this time of the 1500s, Protestants and Catholics would just at each other's throats and everything. So she decides to be some type of high priestess and start attacking Catholics and churches and stuff like that. But she got framed about like burning that one church down and stuff like that. And it gets so bad she starts converting people to Protestant, and she starts baptizing them and stuff. And even when somebody tries to assassinate her, it just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weird because this really uninteresting character is the focus, or part of the focus, of season 2. And it's just like she's there and she's delusional and everything. And so Catherine tricks her and invites her in and tells her people, hey, leave your weapons at the door and I'll sign over my rights to you and blah, 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 blah. And you can marry my son and he's baptized in your religion, only to have every single last one of them massacred, including Abyss or whatever her name is and stuff. It's just so odd. Now, I can't quite pronounce his name, but Alessandrios de Medici. This is Catherine's half-brother. Basically, one of her family members got busy with the hired help, or slaved help, I should say, probably, and created him. As you can see, he is a black man. And yes, this dude is real, and he was actually a duke, the Duke of Florence. And he was black. It was shocking to read and hear about this, because I've never heard about a black person ruling a part of Europe and stuff. This is something they really must not want people to know about. But then when I done some researching, other people started hearing about him a few years ago and made YouTube videos about him. Now he does die in real life through assassination, and he gets assassinated in the show just by different circumstances and stuff. See, this season is very historically inaccurate. Just kind of like the first, but the first was a little bit more accurate. They change things here and there, but they keep the beats of what happened in historical times and stuff. I'm okay with that. As long as they keep to the good gist of it and stuff, and good for entertainment value. But basically, he is her half-brother. When they see each other, they kind of flirt. You can tell they're into each other. But they're related. That's disgusting and gross. And I couldn't find nothing about that in real life about him liking her or anything like that. But basically, he planned on going to America, Florida exactly, and start up business there. But Catherine was really pissed about him sleeping with Rahima. So she has him executed when she orders the whole massacre. Basically, it's Red Wedding style up this season on the last episode. Now, in real life, the assassination of him was due by his cousin. They actually attempted to assassinate this dude multiple times, but then they finally succeeded. Now, one problem I have with the casting of this, one, the actor does a really good job. That's awesome, right? But here's the thing, the dude is supposed to be biracial, light skin, black and white, and this dude is as dark as they come, which is really shocking and odd. Now, I've said before on my channel, I don't have a problem when they cast light skinned black folks or biracial black folks because I like diversity. My problem is that when you have a predominantly white show, the entertainment world, no matter what country you're in, tends to always go with the most light-skinned black person possible. And that bugs me because they want you to think, one, that this is what black folks look like, super light-skinned with that good fluffy curly hair and everything. And it's also not to offend that of white people who just don't want to see a dark-skinned black person on television. This is, yes, a true thing. So I always get irritated every time I watch a show and they constantly go to their go-to black person who just happens to be light-skinned, who is biracial. And because they don't like casting dark black people. So it's like they're getting excluded. Like the one time you'll probably see a dark-skinned black person if it's like an all-black show, and rarely do you see one on a predominantly white show. It would be nice if they had like a blend. Cast one dark person, one light-skinned black person. Fine, that'll be better. Something like that, you know. And normally Hollywood, especially Europe, always cast light-skinned black people. So it's odd when they had an opportunity this time to cast one, they didn't do it. Like, how you expect me to believe this man who is dark as dark can be is biracial? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that. Now, one brand new addition to this season is Queen Elizabeth I, played by Minnie Driver. I assumed she was gonna be in more than just 3 episodes. She's basically just there for comedic relief, and she's just as evil and cunning as that of Catherine. Basically, what it is that just like in real life, she's known for, like, you know, being engaged to tons of men and sleeping with them, but not marrying. She just never wanted to marry, and she never wanted any kids. And of course, she has her cousin, Mary Queen of Scots, in prison when now, in real life, her and Mary never met. In the show, she goes and visits Mary in the jail cell, and we only see Mary for a short, brief time. There was really no point in seeing Mary. There was no point bringing the actress back. And it does break historical, you know, realism and stuff like that. But hey, whatever. I mean, Rain, you know, it broke a lot of stuff too, but it was just pointless in just having that one small little scene to see Mary crack up in jail and stuff like that. But basically, like I said before, she's literally just there for comedic relief. And so basically she's supplying the Protestants with weapons and this and that. She gets engaged to King Charles when he thinks she's going to marry him, only for her not to. And she's basically just there to one-up Catherine in every way. And other than that, it was kind of a little bit of a waste of a character just for 3 episodes and stuff. But at least those 3 episodes were pretty entertaining with her there. And Minnie Driver does a really good job. It's just I thought she would be more prominent in the show because she was always in the promotional stuff. And last but not least, we have Catherine's kids. And pretty much the whole show revolves around them, and they are pretty boring. They're now aged up and everything like that. And the sad part is that only 2 of them ever gets any real good screen time, while the other 3 are barely in the show. So, yeah, like it's just kind of And it's annoying because the show spends so much time on them, and it's just they talk and they talk and they talk and they talk, and it's never anything interesting. But there's only two that are interesting. But first, let's start from the left. We have Hercule, and he's barely in the show, but he's the one who dies first. And he dies differently in the show. In real life, I think, what was it? Was he often, like, he was engaged to Queen Elizabeth I. And here he's not. But then I think in real life, he was in a war, something happened, and then he died. In the show, he's horseback riding, going back into the court. And some villagers don't like him, sass him and his brothers, and throw rocks at him. He ends up having a head injury and dies. That's literally it. Elizabeth, the brunette daughter, she's barely in the show. She marries a guy who's kind of like had a stroke or something, and it was because of political gain that her mother wanted her to. Basically, her mother tricked her. Margaret is the blonde one, and basically she runs after Claude all season, but he doesn't want her because he's secretly gay. So when her mom needs like a huge favor to make the peace, she wants to marry Margaret to that of Henry, her cousin. Gross. And so basically, Catherine tricks that of Charles to force Margaret into marrying her cousin, even to the point where he smacks her and stuff. So she's literally forced to marry that of Henry, who is the son of the Bloods. In real life, this actually happened as well. She was forced to marry that of her cousin, but they had an annulment. Here, I think something about he's all like, oh, what was it? Yeah, he was supposed to be assassinated in the show, but she prevents her brother from doing it. Don't know why she's having a change of heart, but she is. But ew, it's her cousin. Then that leaves the last two brothers. King Charles, who is just like, a slug. He's just a sloth. He's not very confident. He's always giving rules to that of his brother, who he has like a rivalry with. He gives rules to his mom, but nobody never listens to him and does the opposite of what he wants and everything. He's not like, they don't take him seriously, and his brother is best at everything. His brother is able to woo more people, better swordsman. There's all kind of stuff. It's just like they just don't take that man seriously. But then there is his brother, and his brother is a little bit more interesting in the way they wrote him. I can't even pronounce his name. Aquis, I don't know. Screw it. Anyway, he's the rebel. He's the free spirit. He's always disobeying rules, and he hates his brother and always making fun of him. And he is also gay. And the mom finds out about this because somehow Elizabeth knew about this the first and showed Catherine, and Catherine was pissed and all this other stuff. His brother also makes fun of him being gay and stuff like that. He is the one who gets his brother killed on horseback because, these people made fun of him and he wanted to retaliate by having them killed. But Charles said no. So he goes back with his brother, and then his brother ended up dying. This pisses off Catherine and stuff. It's even to the point where they're tricked into like a duel with each other, a sword duel. And Catherine wants him to lose, but he is a better fighter. But the thing about Charles is sick and Charles is dying. His mother literally has him and his friends assassinate all the Protestant people. They wear their masks, they have their swords and this and that, and they just start killing and slashing people left and right. He goes to kill Charles, but decides not to. But Charles is still sick and is still dying, just like he does in real life. However, When Charles dies in real life, I think he ended up getting stabbed, and then at first he was fine, but then he later died. So this season is just kinda odd. Like, it's not a very well written show. The humor is gone. They still break the fourth wall, but they do it a whole lot more in a whole lot more of a serious way. It's just there's something missing. There's something about that first season that was just so magnificent, that was just so different, and it had a nice blend of like historical accuracy, humor, drama, suspense, and a twist. Here is just they try to do all of that, but they drop the football, you know? They just fumble and everything. And it's just not a very interesting season. And I really regret subscribing to Stars just to watch this show. Which after I was done watching it in that Jurassic World movie, I canceled my subscription. Which is funny because I was paying about $5, right? And so when I tried to cancel, they were like, okay, look, we'll let you have it for $1.99. I'm like, nah. They're like, all right, look, we'll grease the wheel. We'll give it to you for 99 cents for 3 months. I still said no because there's nothing good to watch on Stars. So I'm just very, very, very disappointed in this season. How do you mess up a show like this? And I'm really, like, when I say I'm pissed, I'm pissed. I'm just not showing it in my voice, but I really am pissed because the first season is so good and everything. But it's like they stripped away all that goodness and gave us this. How do you have characters from the first season who show up, but are nothing more but background characters? How is a show that's supposed to center around this one character barely about this character? And why do you introduce a bunch of new characters who are just plumb boring? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.